bet you know who I am. That's right, you guessed it. I'm Johnny Appleseed. Well, really, I'm John Chapman, better known as Johnny Appleseed. I've spent the better part of my life planting apple trees and apple seeds all over this great land of ours. And today, I'm going to teach some kids about growing apples from start to finish. They don't know it yet, but I'm going to take them on a great apple adventure. Hey, here they come now. Hi, kids. I'm Johnny Appleseed.
Yeah, he does kind of look like Johnny Appleseed. Yeah, he does.
Who else would wear a hat like this? You know what? I'm going to take you kids today on a great apple adventure.
Wait, we can't go on a great apple adventure. We don't have our parents' permission.
Aw, I'm not going to take you anywhere. We're just going to go sit down over here and I'm going to tell you all about apples. Come on! We're going back to a time when there are no apples on the trees. Does anyone know what time of year that is?
Winter.
That's right, winter. During the winter, when it's cold and snowy, there are no apples on the trees. There are no leaves or flowers on the tree. The trees are bare.
Do the trees die in winter?
Well, not exactly. The Michigan winters give them a time to rest. This time of rest or dormant period is very important for apple trees. Even though it's cold and snowy and there are fewer hours of sunlight, each day tiny buds on the trees are waiting to open. These buds contain all the parts that a tree will need for a whole year's growth, including next spring's leaves and flowers. A hairy covering protects the buds throughout the winter, and when the days become longer and warmer, these new leaf and flower buds will begin to open and a new growing cycle begins.
Does anything else happen in the winter?
Yes, apple trees need special care during the winter months. Apple trees need to be pruned each year. This means that certain branches have to be cut back on each tree. This keeps the tree the perfect size and allows the sunshine in to keep the tree healthy. Pruning is done in the winter months while the tree is resting or dormant. The apple tree remains dormant in the winter. The buds would not develop properly if it weren't for this dormancy period. These tiny buds contain all the parts that the tree will need for a whole year's growth. The trees are pruned during the winter, and the pruning helps keep the trees healthy. The snow is finally gone. The days are getting longer and it's getting warmer and the buds are starting to pop out on the trees. What season is it?
It's spring.
Yes, it's spring. And how come the buds are coming out?
Because the sun's coming out. And it's getting warmer.
You're right. The days are becoming longer with more hours of sunlight and the days are becoming warmer. And when the days become warmer and longer, the leaf buds on the trees begin to open and green leaves start to appear. In early spring, the green leaves of an apple tree are almost full grown, but the flowers are still closed. With the help of the warm sun, the buds open into pink and white flowers. Most apple trees have flowers that start out pink and turn white when in full bloom. The apple orchard is now filled with beautiful flowers on every tree. Did you know that each flower on a tree can turn into an apple?
Every flower turns into an apple?
Wow, that's a lot of apples.
Well, actually, 1 out of every 10 flower can turn into an apple.
So the flowers are important?
You bet they are. There are different parts on each flower, and each part has a very special job. The parts are called the sepal, the petals, the pistils, and the stamen. The yellow powder that's on top of the stamen is called pollen, and the pollen is needed for the growth of the apple. You can see pollen on the top of each stamen.
When I smell some flowers, yellow powder comes off on my nose.
And that's pollen. Now let's see how all these parts do their special jobs to help an apple grow. For apples to form and grow, pollen must get from flower on one tree to a flower on another tree. The pollen from the stamen on one flower must land on the pistil of another flower. And then inside the flower, a tiny apple starts to grow. Sounds easy, doesn't it? Well, think about this. How does the pollen from one flower get to another flower? The trees can't move, so they need some help. Who could those helpers be?
The wind could blow the pollen.
Yes, that's right. The wind can carry the pollen, but it can also be carried by another helper. And if you don't get this one, it's really going to bug me. Who do you think this helper could be?
Bugs. Bees.
You guessed it. Honeybees are important helpers. Bees are so important that they actually bring in beehives during the spring blossom time. The bees fly throughout the orchard and help pollinate the flowers. The color and the smell of the petals on the flower attract the bees. Bees fly from flower to flower, collecting a flower liquid called nectar. They use this nectar to make honey and wax. As they fly from flowers on each tree to flowers on another tree, the tiny grains of pollen stick to their fuzzy legs and body. Then, when the bee goes to another blossom, the pollen grains may brush off onto the pistil. Soon, an apple will start to grow. This is called pollination. The bee doesn't realize it, but it just made it possible for an apple blossom to become an apple.
Those bees are really hard workers.
They sure are. The bee is important to the apple flower, and the apple flower is important to the bee. The bee depends on the apple blossom for nectar, and the apple blossom depends on the bee to pollinate each flower. This shows how all living things need other living things in order to survive. The spring is a very important and busy time for the apple. This is the time that the apple blossom is pollinated and the apple begins to grow. Now the days are warmer, the sun is shining, and the days are becoming longer. What season is it?
Summer. That's my favorite season.
Mine too.
And now the many jobs of the flower are over. Summer is the apple's growing time.
Does it take all summer to grow?
Yes, it takes most of the summer for the apple to grow. The apple trees need to be fed during the summer in order for the apples to grow. The trees need sunlight, rain, and air to help the apples grow and get bigger. The tree's feet or roots drink water from the soil that is rich in nutrients. This food is carried up to the leaves through the tree's backbone or trunk. The leaves also make food for the apples. They make a special kind of sugar that feeds the fruit. Who remembers what's happening to the apple during the summer?
It grows and gets bigger and riper.
In the summer, the apples grow. With the help of the sun, the air, water, and nutrients, the apples get bigger and riper. Food or nutrients travel up the trunk of the tree that it gets from the soil. The food is carried up to the leaves. Leaves also make food for the apples. They make a special kind of sugar that feeds the fruit. Summer is the apple's growing time, but soon, there's a chill in the air. The days are growing shorter. What season has finally arrived?
Fall.
That's right, fall, or another name, autumn.
The apples.
What about the apples? We've waited for them for a long time.
We can pick the apples.
You're right. The apples are ready. It's taken a long time, but the best part has finally arrived. The apples have ripened. It's time to pick or harvest the apples. Not all apples ripen at the same time. Not all apples ripen to the same color. Some apples turn red, others turn yellow, still others stay green. Workers pick the apples by hand, fill the buckets, and empty them into large bins. These apples are sold to grocery stores or processing plants where they make apple pies, apple juice, and applesauce. Have you ever picked apples?
I have. I have too.
Lots of families and kids go to the orchard and pick apples, and so do many students, just like you. It's a fun-filled day for families and a great class outing for students and teachers. However, many of the apples are used right at the apple orchard. One of the highlights of the season is apple cider made at the cider mill. The entire process is done right at the mill. Apples are inspected, sorted, pressed, and dispensed into bottles. There's nothing like a glass of cider and warm donuts. And those caramel and candy apples are everyone's favorite. In the fall, the apples are ripe and ready to be picked. Some of the apples are sent and sold to grocery stores and processing plants where they make apple pies, apple juice, and applesauce. Many of the apples are used right at the apple orchard where they make apple cider, caramel, and candy apples. And that's how apples grow. But as fall comes to an end and the apples are picked, the leaves fall off the trees, new buds form, and a new growing cycle begins. And now, Mother Nature and I have a surprise for you.
Whoa, thanks, Johnny.
Yes.
Don't thank me, thank Mother Nature and the apple tree.